Hello, friend. Welcome to day 11 of our 20-day challenge together. I'm your host, Alicia Carrasco, entrepreneur, author, wife, and mom of two. And if this is the very first episode that you're listening to and you're wondering what the 20-day challenge is, let me explain you very quickly in hopes that you also want to join in. So for the first 20 episodes of this podcast, I propose to be your guide in this journey of self-transformation by committing 20 days to listen to the corresponding episode where we dive deep into the keys and the techniques to explore our inner self. And then you commit to do your 3 to 5 minute journaling reflection every day after listening to the corresponding episode. So if you'd like to take me up on this challenge, go ahead and keep listening to this very same episode. Or if you want to start from the very beginning, you can go back to day 1 of this challenge and I'll see you there. So for the first 10 episodes, 10 days of this challenge, we've been peeling off all the layers one by one on how to connect better with our inner voice, our soul. And we've understood how our mind, body, and soul are totally interconnected. And in the second half of this 20-day challenge that we're starting today, we're going to dive deep into the how to find your life purpose. And we're going to create together a step-by-step action plan on how to really start living a life that is truly aligned with yourself. So let's get started and let's do it with these 2 questions. Why am I here? What is the meaning of life? Wow, 2 profound questions, right? So each one of us have asked ourselves this question at some moment in our lives, and they are the same questions that humans have been asking themselves since the immemorial. And yeah, the truth is that there is no clear answer to those questions. And there are many points of view, scientific studies, philosophies, religions, beliefs, and so on, which define the meaning of life from very different perspectives, right? However, all of them have in common that need that we as humans have for an answer for the reason why we are here, for our existence. And many occasions, it may happen that at a certain point, it happened to me, we decide to stop looking for an answer because, yeah, it can get really intense, broad, and overwhelming trying to answer those 2 questions. So sometimes it's easier to, you know what, I'm going to put it away in a box. And in most cases, we ignore it. So we don't have to ask ourselves again that question in our lives, right? We choose actually to immerse ourselves into the mundane hustle and bustle of the everyday life, full of obligations, things to do, worries and work and bills to pay and so on, right? And by doing that, we kind of become beings that are constantly in a hurry running without really knowing where or why are they running. So there is a constant and never-ending wheel that we kind of make with the obligations in our life, essentially created by actually the society that we live in today, that distances us from finding the answer to that one reason for our existence. That actually, if we were able to find the answer to, that would really connect us with our inner truth and with what we have really come here to be and share in this world. And what happens is that in an attempt to fill that inner void that we have without the answer to these 2 important questions of our existence, is that sometimes we spend our days, eating, but you still feel hungry, drinking, but you still feel thirsty. And sometimes we achieve important goals, but at the end of the day, we feel that, oh, they are never enough. Or we are successful and we get to be really successful on what we do, but we never really feel completely 100% satisfied. So we're constantly seeking for more and more, and it does never stop. And many of us live our lives feeling like zombies, constantly seeking something to fill that void that we know we feel inside, where actually only your purpose in life can live. And I deeply believe, and this is my personal belief here, we all came into this world with a purpose. I think that your soul came to incarnate your physical body and to live this physical experience with an objective, with a purpose. I also believe that as a child, I can say that I have 2 kids and I see that every day in them. You're unconsciously aware of what your purpose is. And therefore, you're capable of questioning everything. You're capable of showing who you really are and acting without filters or listening without realizing to your soul. What you do is you unconsciously are a creative soul. As kids, we are creative souls. We really are who we were meant to be in this earth, right? But it is during the process of growing up that you kind of allow the external world to place layers over you, rules about how you should be, being compared to everyone else, understanding what is the expectations from you or not expecting from you, and so on and so on, right? And you kind of grow up creating those layers, open layers and layers, like in the story of the Golden Buddha that we talked about in episode 3, in day 3 of this challenge, that cover up and make you forget who you really are and why you came to this earth. Such are those layers that cover up your true self that on many occasions it is actually really complicated to understand who you really are and what your purpose is and why have you come here. In fact, many people think that there is nothing special about them. And you can try that by asking your friends or your parents or some family member, and if you ask them this question, most likely they're going to say something like they are just simply another face in the crowd, or maybe they do not know enough, or maybe they say, oh, I'm too young for that, or I'm too old for that other thing, or they do not have the resources, and so on and so on. The list can go on, right? But the truth is that every person has a unique talent that nobody else has and a way of using it that is better than any other person on the planet. So there's always something special and unique about you, about every single one of us. This is the key thing that when I understood this, it was like a very important moment in my personal development journey because I grew up thinking that I was actually that like another face in the crowd, that I wasn't special enough, that I didn't really have any special talent, or I was good student, but I wasn't like the best one, or I wasn't like the most beautiful girl in class or whatever, those kind of things, right? That you used to think when you are a kid or when you are a teenager. So your job and your responsibility in life is to actually remove those layers that prevent you from shining your uniqueness and the special you, to set out on the path towards your own truth and the reason for your own existence. When I discovered this in my personal development journey, for me, it was a big aha moment because till that moment, I grew up thinking that I wasn't special, and that thing about being unique and having talent was just for a few selected ones in the world. I read a book while ago called Discover Your Dharma from Sahara Rose, and it was really, really interesting the way she explained in detail how to find your purpose in life. I highly recommend reading it. It's actually an amazing book. So, one of the most interesting concepts is that your purpose is actually within you. And you don't really need to go out there and find it somewhere. You just need to remember what it is. Wow, that was a huge concept. What this means is that who you truly are and your purpose go hand in hand. And this is what makes you really unique. And it is actually the most truthful expression of who you are. So, living your purpose means embracing all those parts of you and living from a place that feels actually true and authentic to you. And quite often, again, yeah, it is very complex to understand who you really are because you have spent, we almost all of us have spent almost all our lives by listening to everyone else and all the external obligations and conditions rather than really stopping and listening to ourselves, up to the point where we have almost completely forgotten that we actually came to this planet to be different and to contribute through our uniqueness and special talent. And many people believe that finding their purpose in life means finding the perfect job or career. I used to think so. But as Sahara Rose describes in her book, that could not be farther from the truth. Finding your purpose actually goes beyond, way beyond that. Your life purpose is actually your mission. It is the reason why you are here. And your career or job is just a way. to manifest your purpose at this moment, at this time. So, to simplify this even further, your purpose is that which is eternal within you. But your career or maybe your job may evolve and change at certain moments or stages of your life to manifest better your purpose in one form or another. Because we are evolved, we're continuously progressing because our present self is as fleeting as the present moment that we are right now and is totally different from our future self. That future self can be the future self that you're going to be tomorrow, next week, in 1 month, 2 months, 3 years along the line, right? So, for example, your purpose, that thing that is constant inside you, might be, for example, to fight for social justice, right? That's what you feel that you must be doing in this life. Perfect. But you could express that through your life in different stages by being, a teacher or maybe a lawyer or maybe a volunteer or an entrepreneur. So there are a lot of things that you could do to express that, right? But in the end, they are all the same manifestations of the same purpose. So the key concept here, that's what I want you to remember, is that your purpose is not so much what you do every single day, but rather the energy that surrounds everything that you do in your life. So that is your uniqueness, that distinguishing touch that you bring to everything that you do in your life and in your day to day. And when you remember what your inner truth is, and you find actually the way to express that truth on an ongoing basis, then is when you start living in total balance with your inner self, and the creativity and the energy and all the inspiration constantly flows during your days because you are living at that moment in alignment with your most absolute and authentic true self. So, all of this was quite intense, I know. So, let's start from the very beginning. For today's challenge, I'd like to propose you to explore your inner child. So, I just want you to close your eyes and try to think about what is it that you really liked doing when you were a kid? What activities made you lose track of time? What were your interests, passions? And try to make a list and briefly reflect on why you think that you love those activities. And don't overthink it. Just write down what is it that you liked doing when you were a kid. So I hope you enjoyed today's reflection and journaling. And if you like this episode, please like, rate, subscribe, or even share it with a friend. Thank you so much for listening and see you in the next one.